Welcome, and good morning. This is the Partnership Show with George Wright. I'm your guest host, Joshua Williams, a program coordinator for the Partnership, bringing you some news that you can use. And so, who is the Partnership, and how do you reach us? Well, the Partnership is a nonprofit umbrella organization that operates the largest publicly funded workforce system in the nation, serving Chicago and Cook County. Now, we have a network of nearly 100 agencies in Chicago and Cook County that offers job searches and training assistance, largely at no cost to the job seekers and businesses that utilize those services. We connect job seekers to careers and employers to talented job seekers to hire. We also have a team that specializes in working with employers, helping them find the local talented teams that they need to build the workforce of the future. Right now, those who work with the employer partners, we know of more than 900 open positions with 131 employer partners that are ready to hire. So if you're looking for a career, you're looking to change your career, you're looking for information about workforce development and how you can develop some skills, you should know that our American Job Centers are the front doors to the Partnership. So please call us at 800-720-2515 to learn more about American Job Centers in your area. Also, visit us online at levelupajc.org. You can also visit our website at shycookworks.org. And follow us on social media at shycookworks. Our general office line is 312-603-0200. So please, if you're looking for information, if you're interested in changing your career or finding a career, give us a call, reach out to us on all those platforms. So I kicked off today's show with the famous gospel singer and civil rights activist Mavis Staples, who released Eyes on the Prize in 2007. And for me, this song represents a song of triumph, a song of perseverance. It embodies the inspiration and motivation that is needed to keep pushing, keep striving, keep surviving by any means necessary. In a positive, impactful way, of course, but that leads me to the theme of today's show. Today, the Partnership Show is dedicating this show to our citizens who have been impacted by the criminal justice system, to all the men and women who were affected by maybe a wrong turn or a bad decision. This show is to inspire you to keep your eyes on the prize and hold on. The Partnership has services and resources that we would like to share and connect you with today. So to all of my listeners, if you are somebody who or you're somebody or you know somebody that has been impacted by the criminal justice system, please call in this morning with your questions, your concerns, your thoughts at 773-591-1690. Tap into the Partnership Show. We will be continuously providing you services and resources that you can ultimately use to reach your prize. Again, we're talking about our justice-impacted citizens who have already returned home or who are in the process of returning back into society. So, to have a stronger impact on my message today, I thought that it was very important for me to invite guests on the show who can directly speak to the genuine experience of this population because they too have been impacted by the criminal justice system. Not only that, for them, it was not over, right? They kept their eyes on the prize. They didn't let their mistakes hold them down, and in fact, they held on even tighter and got it out the mud, so to speak, like our young kids say today. So on today's show, I have two special guests. Those special guests today is Dr. Mika Battles. Good morning, Dr. Mika.
I'm fine.
Do we have
Great.
Do we have Dr. Mika on the line currently?
No, this is Dr. Sylvia Pullum. We're in collaboration with Dr. Mika. She told us to call in.
Oh, I see. Okay, great. Thank you so much for that. Dr. Sylvia Pullman?
Pullum.
Pullum.
And Apostle Pullum.
And
Yes.
and so are we going to have Dr. Mika Battles on the show today?
Yes, and we are collaborating with her on the music for her production. So that's why she instructed us to call in. So I believe she's first, and then we're after her.
Absolutely. So just give us a second, Dr. Pullum, and we'll definitely get back to what you're doing and what aspect you have in the show today.
Yeah, we're holding. We're here for the long haul.
Thank you so much. Keith Talley, are you on the line today?
Yes, I'm online, Joshua.
Good morning. Perfect, Keith. Glad to have you. And Keith Talley is a reentry coordinator for Phalanx Family Services, who is actually in one of the networks with the partnership. So thank you for sharing with us today. Dr. Mika, are you on today? Dr. Mika? So unfortunately, we can't get in touch with Dr. Mika this morning. I'm hoping that she will be calling in soon. But again, I really appreciate both Keith Talley and Dr. Mika for coming onto the show today and sharing with us. And again, it was very important for me to have a guest on the show who has been through the system and knows exactly what they're talking about because of their lived experience. So before we dig into all of the wonderful things that Dr. Mika and Keith is doing for men and women who have been justice impacted, I want to expound a little bit on your experiences with incarceration and uncover what has motivated you both to persevere and push through the hardship while keeping your eyes on the prize. So this question, I'm going to start with you, Keith, since we have you live currently. So I want to know, talk to me a little bit about your roots. Were you born and raised in Chicago?
Yes, I was born on the far south side of Chicago in the Roseland Pullman area.
Okay.
Which I actually have the pleasure and in some ways torment of working there now in that same area.
Perfect.
But no, I worked. I lived on the far south side. I have a two-parent home.
Yeah.
During the time I'm of a particular age that the area that I grew up in, which is called Roseland, was truly a rose.
Yes.
This is the pre-crack cocaine era.
Absolutely.
That area was a beehive of economic activity. You had a whole bunch of first-time home buyers.
Yes.
And most of my neighbors, most of my friends' parents were either bus drivers, so I worked for the CTA, police, postal workers. So that's kind of the climate that I grew up in.
Absolutely. And through that, ushered in some hard times. And unfortunately, like a lot of us do, we end up making bad decisions or making a wrong turn. So how much time did you spend incarcerated, and when was you released from prison?
Well, that was a journey.
Yeah.
That was a journey, Joshua.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I was a serial offender.
Yeah.
I wasn't. That's not my story of someone who did something wrong one day, had a bad day, and found themselves incarcerated for this protracted period of time, and they got out. No. Mm-hmm. I've served approximately 4 sentences in the Illinois Department of Corrections, and they have progressively escalated each time.
Yeah.
I served at one point a 10 years confined, and got confined. And this final time, I served 17 years.
Yeah. So
the vast majority of my adult life has been confined in the Illinois Department of Corrections.
Wow.
And through the advocacy and hard work and the Safety Act, the law that just passed a couple of years ago,
yes,
I was able to get my good time restructured, which afforded me the opportunity to come home approximately 5 years early.
Oh, wow.
All right, which I'm 55 years old now, so those 5 years are some valuable 5 years.
Absolutely. It does mean a lot. Doubt. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
so, through the blessing of laws being changed, you were afforded the opportunity to come out. And so
Elections matter. Yeah.
say that again, elections matter, right?
Elections matter. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. There is the difference between life and death, so to speak. So get out
Really?
there and vote. That was a great message for the people listening, Keith. Upon release, so when were you released, if you don't mind me asking?
January 4th, 2024.
Absolutely. Round of applause, man. Welcome home.
Yeah,
So
I'm grateful.
January 4th. That's just recently,
Yeah, just recently. Just recently.
And then, so with that, what are some of the barriers that you faced upon release?
Well, again, I think my experience kind of made my story a little different because I had so many bites at the apple.
Yes.
And have experienced reentry so many times under so many different political and social circumstances, because this is over a period of 30 years.
Yeah.
That my issue was not external barriers. My issue was an internal one.
Okay.
And so once I got sat together, the kind of the enemy within, then the enemy without was no problem. And so I really didn't have any really difficult barriers in my reentry, because I was informed, motivated, and prayed up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have to throw that in there too. You know what I mean? Because I can't do it alone. And so, so I didn't really have those barriers didn't impact me, I should say, as other people.
And I think the most important key that came from what you just said is that once you cured the barriers that you had internally, maybe with your mind, maybe with your thinking, maybe with your attitude, once you kind of overcome some of those barriers, all of the external barriers were null and void, correct?
That's right.
Thank you so much for that, Keith. Now, I'm getting back with you. We definitely want to dig into some of the amazing things that you're doing with Felix Family Services and the reentry program that you work with. We do have Dr. Mika on the line this morning. Good morning, Dr. Mika.
Hey, good morning, Josh. Sorry about getting in late. I just couldn't get in for some reason.
Oh, yeah, it'd be like that sometimes, Dr. Mika, but we got to adjust, right? Just like with life, we got to adjust, and we got to pivot sometimes and do things that works at the moment. So no problem with that at all. But so, Dr. Mika, I know that you are the executive director of Bridges to Freedom. You are an author who has published books on Amazon. You also are an advocate for men and women who come home from prison. So, again, I want to take the opportunity to learn a little bit about your experience with incarceration and how did you, pivot, so to speak, and, change directions upon your release. So I know that you were born in Philly. Give me a little a background about yourself, particularly your roots in Chicago.
Yep. I was born in Philly, and I came to Chicago at an early age. I was about 3 or 4, and I lived in Parkway Gardens, which they call the O Block now.
Yes.
And I grew up there. I went to school there. I graduated from Akash Elementary School, which is now called Till Academy, and named after Emmett Till. And then I went to Kenwood High School, where I graduated in 73. Yeah, got into drugs and, all of that, and ended up in prison, got married. I was married to a major drug dealer, and ended up in prison, and came home in 2002. I was also a heroin addict. Yeah. And but like he said, there's no way any of this could have been done without God. I came home in 2002, and I paroled to Alabama. I didn't even come back to Chicago because Chicago, mean nothing. I had done it all here. And so I moved to Alabama and opened a coffee shop there, and then I entered school. And I went to school for 13 years.
Yes.
And after 13 years, I had a doctorate in organizational management and leadership.
Absolutely.
And in 2009, right after the election of Obama, I came back to Chicago in 2008, early 2009. And I was just compelled to want to help the people because I saw my life turn around, and that's when I founded Bridge to Freedom, which is it started out as a housing facility for men and women who come home from prison.
Absolutely.
But it ended up being way much more. Now we have a coffee shop, a theater, and other components for men and women
and
to
Dr.
be able
Mika,
to work.
we're going to definitely dive into all of those amazing things that you guys are doing with Bridge to Freedom, and some of the plays that you've written and all of those good things. So we'll jump into that a little later on in the conversation. But I just want to give our audience understanding that, you guys who have been through things in your life and ended up in bad places or in the wrong situations have the opportunity to change those things around. And what I want to ask you, Keith, and I'll ask the same of you, Dr. Mika. Keith, post-incarceration, can you give our audience some tips or some insight on how to maintain their life and remain free post-incarceration?
Well, Mika hit the nail on the head when she said that she could do nothing she can do without God.
Yes.
And so first and foremost, there has to be a connection to a power,
A higher power,
a source of power that is greater than you. And I don't mean to diminish God in this way, but that could be people or a group with whom God can work through. But it has to be something greater than you, because if you had the power to do it yourself, you would have done it.
You would have done it. Absolutely.
Right. You would have been done it. Yep. So you had to tap in and connect. And so that's first and foremost. And then, you just have to have a vision.
Yeah.
A desire of what you want out of life. And, and that's kind of one of the things we talk about with some of our guys, kind of pivoting them from a fixed, limited mindset to a growth mindset.
Absolutely.
So, so again, it begins with the spirit, and then the mind, or the transformation of that mind, and then, and I believe this, and I wholeheartedly believe this, that God will manipulate, manufacture, organize circumstances and situations in your favor. They'll put you in the right place at the right time. It'll put you in contact with the right people at the right time. And so, so the third pillar would be community.
Yes.
Connecting and plugging in, right?
Absolutely.
I can't sit at home and expect to beat the reentry challenges alone. I have to get out there and get active and be, proactive and plug in. And so, So spiritual, mental, and social. It's kind of a holistic approach for reentry.
Great point, Keith. And what about you, Dr. Mika? What are some tips that you can give our listening audience who who know someone who has been through being justice impacted? How can you give them some tips to maintain themselves upon release?
The spiritual component is key. It's number one.
Yes.
Without Jesus, it just ain't gonna happen. And I'm not getting ready to sugarcoat or nothing. I told you I was a heroin addict. I used to shoot $200-300 worth of dope a day.
Yes.
And guess what? I didn't have no power. No other God had any power to deliver me from any of that. Okay, I just can't sugarcoat it.
Absolutely.
Second, the practical steps would be education. Okay. Because just like they told us on the plantation, don't let them read.
Yes.
Without an education, guess what? If it isn't, even if it's a vocational, they need a skill, right, to be able to use to, for finances, to be able to take care of themselves.
Yes.
Education, they got to take care of their mental health. because it's insanity, you know, when you end up in prison and 80% of people that are behind bars were either on drugs when they committed their crimes or they committed their crimes to get drugs.
Yes.
So the drug component with incarceration is high. So if you need your mental health, you need your drug rehab, and you got to have some education.
All great
And
points,
see,
guys.
they
All excellent points. Go ahead. I'm sorry, doctor.
They used to allow incarcerated people to get degrees, more degrees than they do now.
Oh, yeah.
And so the recidivism rate was lower when that took place behind bars. Because once you get that education, guess what? They can't do nothing with you.
And they can't take it away. Yep.
No,
Yep.
you become immovable, unshakable. You just, yeah.
Absolutely. So, you know, some key points for our listeners, you know, if you have been justice impacted and you just come home, you know, get your mental straight, get your education straight, get your spiritual set straight, and then surround yourself with a community of individuals with support system and resources that can be able to keep you along the lines of what you need to do to be successful, keep your eyes on the prize, and reach that goal that you're trying to reach. So, pivoting into some of the resources and services that you guys provide for our brothers and sisters who have been justice impact, I definitely want to kind of elaborate on some of those amazing services and give our listening audiences a way to be able to connect and contact with those services. So let's start with Bridge to Freedom, Dr. Mika. Give me some background about Bridge to Freedom. How did this program begin, and what is this program all about?
It began in 2009 with just a handful of volunteers and just people who had Matthew 25:31 through 46, where Jesus tells the people, you know, take care of the sick, the homeless, the naked, those in prison, and you know, and he gave us that command, and it just started with people who had a heart with that. So at first, for about 7 or 8 years, we only did housing, where we allowed men and women who came home from prison to stay at our facility. It's you know, no pay until they get a job, and then they have to pay 30% for their room and board. But we take care of their clothes, food, you know, transportation, all of that, help them go back to school. We've had graduates with bachelor's degrees and different things like that. And then after that, we said, well, you know what? We need to bring in a component where jobs are available, you know, because it's hard when you got that X on your back.
Absolutely.
Sometimes people don't want to hire you, even with your education or skill set. So we brought in different working components, construction, plumbing, you know, we did things like that. Absolutely. But now we have a coffee shop on 62nd and St. Lawrence that will be opening, and we will be training baristas and waiters and different things like that.
And talk to me a little bit about those coffee shops, Dr. Mika. Are these coffee shops, you know, background friendly? Talk to me a little bit about the insides of these coffee shops.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, you have to be an ex-offender in order to work for us. I mean, there's enough opportunities for people who haven't been to jail. So, that's one of our criteria. We ask automatically, you ever been to jail? You know, because we want those people working for us. And the same with our Black Box Theater, where we train set designers. We help people write their stories. You know, journaling, you know, spoken word, different things like that.
So keep in mind, listening audience, this is, you know, opportunities for individuals with backgrounds, particularly for you all. So we're going to give you all the information to Bridges to Freedom and how you can connect with that. But I want to learn a little bit more about some of the services that are provided at Bridge to Freedom. What else can someone with a background expect to experience with Bridge to Freedom?
They're going to get drug rehab. They're going to get anger management. encouragement. They're going to get lifestyle redirection, Bible studies, and we're going to partner them up with a mentor, right?
Yes.
We're going to also do an emotional intelligence test with them, and we're going to do a multiple intelligence test with them to find out what is really their God-given talent or gift. What are they smart in? You know, rather it's body smart, athletically, musical smart, word smart, people smart, nature smart. We want to find out, what do you want to do with your life? One question we ask our clients is, what did you want to be when you grew up? Nobody said I wanted to be a prisoner, a jailbird, a dope fiend. Nobody said that. People had dreams back then. And it might not be reachable now because of your background, how old you are, all the difficulties you've had. But there's still some way, shape, form, or fashion that we can help them find out where they want to be and help them get there.
Absolutely. So you know, it sounds like this is a one-stop shop for any individuals who are looking for a multitude of services. Dr. Mika, how can our listening audience reach out and get in touch with Bridge to Freedom to be able to utilize some of the wonderful things that you all do?
The best way to get in touch with Bridge to Freedom is go to our website, bridge2freedom.org. Again, that is Bridge, BRIDGE, number two, Freedom, FREEDOM.org. And when you go there, there's a page where you can contact us. Get in touch with us. Somebody will get back in touch with you. And then if you can't do it that way, you can always dial 312-513-8093.
Now, Dr. Mika, you are also an author who has books on Amazon, and you all have turned those books into plays as well. One in particular is some sort of saint. Talk to me a little bit about your books that are on Amazon, and how have you transitioned those into plays, as well as allowed our incarcerated family to be able to benefit and be a part of all this as well.
So, Some Kind of Saint, I didn't write that. That was written by James Crumb and Linda Bright Clay. They wrote that, and that is the story of my life.
Okay.
And it's going to be at the Destination Theater in Hyde Park, August 2nd through the 11th. Again, you can buy tickets on our website, bridge2freedom.org. There's a musical piece that's been written by myself called Some Sort of Saint, and Dr. Sylvia Begay and her husband, Apostle Tyrone. They did the music.
Yes.
Dr. Sylvia is the soloist on that. My husband, Michael Abbott, he consulted with them on the music. But the books that I have written are 4 books, and they are Clean for a Day, and that's for drug rehab. Then there is Queen for a Day. That's for women, and it's a devotional. And then Unmasking Shame and Guilt. That is a book about my life and how I had to unmask the shame and guilt. And the other book is, y'all call it O Block, we call it Parkway Gardens.
Okay.
That's a book about the O Block, how it is today, but it mainly is about how it was 40, 50 years ago when I grew up there, where Michelle Obama was born,
Absolutely.
where Dr. Martin Luther King's attorney used to live. Chauncey Eskridge lived in Parkway Gardens.
Yes.
And Parkway Gardens was a family. It was a beautiful place to grow up in. It was nothing for us to walk the playground some days and see Dr. Martin Luther King outside just sitting, because back then it was segregation, so he didn't stay in hotels. He stayed with his attorney when he had to come to Chicago.
Yes. Yes.
And, yeah, and we used to run up and say, Dr. Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King, can we have your autograph, Dr. Martin Luther King?
Yes.
And he would just laugh and write it. At one time, I got his on a piece of brown paper bag. That's all I could run in the house and get right quick.
Absolutely. So, Parkway Gardens, you know it is O Block. We know it is Parkway Gardens. There's some historical, that sounds like a great read with some historical information attached to that. We do have a caller on the line who is kind of associated with Bridge to Freedom and Dr. Mika. Dr. Pullum, good morning.
Good morning. Great morning. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much for holding. Thank you so much for your patience. So talk to me a little bit about your connection with Dr. Mika Battles and Bridge to Freedom.
Absolutely. Well, since we're being transparent on today, my life was directly impacted by the criminal justice system.
Absolutely.
Over 20 years ago.
Yes.
I met Dr. Mika behind the walls of IDOC.
Okay.
I was impacted by domestic abuse. I had watched my mother, a single parent, engage in that particular activity for over 40 years.
Yes.
And so I met her through another offender who shared with me I had some of the same characteristics as an overcomer.
Yes.
And so, that whole piece of irreverent, illegal relationships, I may not have had a drug issue or drug problem, but I had other issues, you see, and it's you, which was me. And so I needed to learn how to unpack my purpose and understand who I was. I had no self-esteem. And so when I met Dr. Mika, she began to work with me, her and some of her navigators and pen pals. And, my thing was at that point, I had already processed and understood that I needed to break generational curses, that I was going to be tag your it. I needed to be the person in my family who would break those bounds and understand who I was to be an example. And so, my life was filled with many things. You had molestation. Back in the day, growing up in Robert Taylor Homes, now Taylor Park, south side of Chicago, Bronxville area, things that children should never have to see, But the bottom line is fast forward.
Yes.
What we do now in collaboration with Bridge to Freedom, and I thank God for her because she has always had an eye to see and to know when someone had purpose. Yes. And so when we were asked, and my husband is right next to me, Apostle Tyrone Pullum, when we were asked to create and compose the music, because he grew up musically. He's an apostle of 40 plus years, and God's on the Move Ministries of the Apostolic Faith Church and Warfare International Ministries, and now we have our own brand of publication, Apostolic String Publications, tied into the community. And so being asked to come up with the music, it was not a question. We were honored to do so. And so now we are at the point of celebrating Dr. Mika. A beautiful soul, her whole entire life is a testament to so many people that you can overcome anything as long as your eyes can look up,
Yep. Well, thank you so much for that. But before I let you go, Dr. Pullum, I have to ask you for our listening audience, what tips can you give someone who, just came back home to society, new and ready to do some things for their life? What tips can you give them to motivate them to keep their eyes on the prize and hold on towards success?
Well, one thing I can share with you definitely is that you have to have a will. I started planning my life behind the pillars of prison.
Yes.
I saw what I wanted to be.
Yes.
And I knew that I had an out date. And so having an out date means that everything is possible.
Absolutely.
I tapped into the resources that were put before me. One thing I want to say is when I got behind the walls, God was first.
Yes.
Matthew 6:33. First seek ye the kingdom of God. God was first. I knew that I needed help, as Keith Talley stated, and Dr. Mika. I knew that I needed the strength because I didn't have the family fortitude to help me.
Absolutely.
I had to be the one.
Absolutely.
God first, tap into the resources. And when I came home, every organization that came behind those walls that said, when you come out, we got you, I knocked on their doors and said, remember me?
Absolutely.
The sun was green.
Yes.
The sky was blue. You said,
yes.
Here I am. I need your help and I need your commitment. And now that's what we do.
Absolutely.
Shattered Vessels, Broken Arrows, Community Development Corporation. We help criminally justice involved individuals. We show them the flip side, whereas success financially, how to tap into the wealth, not just tapping into, the 1, 2, 3 resources, but what do you do once you get a job?
Absolutely.
And you understand who you are, how to tap in. And so we are financial reservoirs and investors. We sow into the community, those who want to do better.
And how can the audience get in contact with you, Dr. Pullum?
Yeah, so you can reach out to us. Our website is www.godonthemoveministry.org, www.godonthemoveministry.org, and or you are free to call 773-270, 2053, 773-270-2053. You can also reach out to Apostle Tyrone Pullum via Facebook, or Dr. Sylvia Begay Pullum via Facebook.
Thank you so much for joining the Partnership Show and giving our audience some amazing resources and support on the show today. Now, as we transition, I want to jump into one of the Partnerships Network. I want to get back to Keith Talley, who works with Phalanx Family Services, who is actually, one of the partners in the Partnerships Network. So, Keith, this program that you work for, the Road Home, it's funded by ARPA dollars from the Cook County. Tell our listening audience, Keith, what is the Road Home and what is it all about?
The Road Home is a set of services that's provided for those who are returning home. And our particular scope of services provides kind of 3 tiers of services. First of all, our initial contact is one of stabilization.
Yes.
Right. You can't move forward if our clients are unstable. And so one thing I like about Phalanx Family Services, which is the largest social service agency on the far south side,
yes.
They have a broad range of services that our clients in our particular program can tap into.
Okay.
And so we have wraparound services, services for the family,
yes.
Things that can help stabilize our clients. So that's the first tier. The second tier of the Road Home is job readiness. Not only do we want them to get employed, but we want them to remain employed.
Absolutely.
And so we have a broad range of programs and services which empower them with information that would allow them to not only secure employment, but remain employed. And lastly, we have 2 things. We have a paid work experience and training. I was a little coming on board. I wasn't a fan of paid work experience.
Yeah.
I thought it was a Band-Aid because it's a limited period of time.
Before we jump into that, Keith, what actually is a paid work experience? Tell our listening audience who's never heard that term. What is that actually?
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joshua.
No doubt.
Well, a paid work experience is when we send one of our clients to a community company
yes.
that we partner with.
Okay.
And what they do is allow one of our clients to come. We pay for them.
Yes.
So there's free labor actually for the
term paid,
and
right?
It's supporting the community.
Yes.
And so we allow them to come and work at that particular company for 20 hours a week, up to 20 hours a week. We pay them $20 an hour.
Yes.
And and they're able to get some work experience.
Absolutely.
But after the 8 weeks over, they're kind of at the starting point, unless that particular company hires them.
I see. So talk to me a little bit about how you felt about that. Yeah, you were saying you felt Talk to me about that.
And I thought that was such a Band-Aid, because it was only 8 weeks, and what if the company doesn't hire them? Now they're back at square one. But for particular clients, particularly our clients that have served long sentences, I have probably a third of my clients have served 20 plus, and who have never had a job. Right, this is their first working experience. Then the value of the paid work experience really shows through, because now, before entering into the work market, the job market, full force, they're able to get some experience of what that looks like, what that entails, what that is required of them, before they can actually really get into the service. So for particular clients, I think it has a great value. So anyway, paid work experience, and also training. We send our individuals to trainings. We pay for the training.
Okay.
We pay them $20 an hour while they train.
I see.
So this is excuse-busting. That's what I call it all the time.
Yes.
Excuse-busting services.
Absolutely.
We pay for your transportation. We pay you free training. Up to some of the trainings cost $5,000 to $6,000.
Yeah.
And we pay you $20 an hour while you train.
So when you say training, when you say training, you're talking about some type of occupational skills training. What do you mean specifically about when you say training?
Well, training varies.
Yes.
Training and school varies. So that could look like a forklift training, where they get a certification, with an OFIC certification, or some other credential. It could be CDL, where they actually get their CDL license.
Wait a minute. So you're paying for CDLs? You mean to tell me you're paying for CDLs at Phalanx Family Services?
Paying for it. We got it. And we're going to pay you while you get it.
Y'all hear them?
And we're going to pay you while you get it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So you can you sleeping on somebody's couch, or you're living at Bridge to Freedom. You can help self-sustain yourself and help out around the house.
Oh, that's excellent.
While you're training and going to school.
Absolutely. Those are some amazing services. If you're trying to do something with yourself, holler at Phalanx Family Services. You have the opportunity to get your CDL at the least. Go ahead, Keith.
Oh, no doubt. And and also let's not forget about the academic track, the long-term academic piece, where some people may not want to go to vocational training, or and they want to go to school, get their associate's degree, or something like that. Okay. All that stuff is paid for, and then so that's the second tier, and the final tier after stabilization and training or work experience. The final tier is job placement.
Okay.
Right. We have a team of job developers who have relationships with companies and partners in the community, and after you get to finish your training, we team back up with our job developers that work with you, because you need some agency. We work with them to help them find employment.
Absolutely. So the Road Home program, to all our listeners, is a program that can really help you get to where you want to go. Break some of those barriers that you have, supply you with supportive services that you can use to maybe get some training, get some education, get some work experience, and have the chance to get to that, keep your eyes on the prize and get to that prize, so to speak. So, Keith, I want to do something, man. I know that people, when it comes to getting employer partners or, trying to get a job as a felon, there's myths that go along with, me being an ex-offender. So I want to be able to expel some of those myths that ex-offenders have, that, says that, they're not good employees. Talk to me a little bit about that. Expel that myth that ex-offenders are not good employees.
Well, there's a myth that, one, is that no one will hire me because I'm an ex-offender, right?
Yeah.
And the stigma is real. I'm not saying the stigma associated with being impacted by the legal system isn't real.
Yeah.
It's not as strong as was during my past experience. It's gotten a lot better, but it is real. but it's not prohibitive.
Yeah.
It's not something that can keep you in that position. So that's myth number one. And myth number two is that that I cannot do it, and then this is beyond a myth, right?
Yeah.
This is internal. I mean, when I talked about if there's no enemy within, then the enemy without can do you no harm, right? This is that mindset piece, right? And so this is a myth that has been internalized in the spirit. And even though a person may articulate it something differently outwardly, deep down inside, they truly don't believe it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that myth has to be busted. But, in general, I think individuals really want more. And I think as a society, we have to do a lot better at meeting them.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
I just want to commend Keith and Phalanx Family Services for being Mythbusters, right? Being the resource that you can utilize to come and get the assistance that you're looking for. We got a few minutes left. I think we have a caller. Lakita, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm on the line.
Hey, Lakita. Good morning. Thank you for calling the Partnership Show.
Oh, you're welcome.
So you had a question or concern, or you wanted to get some more information about the programs we have?
Oh, no, I'm just kind of listening in. I'm actually a guest of Dr. Pullum as well as with Apostle. And so I was asked to kind of join in and listen in on the interview with Dr. Battles. But I think all of the information that was provided this morning was really great information.
Absolutely.
Just learning from the different guests.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being a part of the show today, and thank you so much for listening. Keith, before we round it up out of here, I do want to give you the opportunity to allow the listeners, our listening audience, to connect with you. So what are some ways that the people who are listening today can connect with Phalanx Family Services and the Road Home program?
Yes, you can connect with us, of course, online, phalanxfamilyservices.org. However, the best way to connect with us is through our phone lines, and that's 773-291-1086. And my personal extension is extension 121. And we are located on 837 West 119th Street, basically 119th in Halsted. And I have to add this in too, Joshua, that with regard to our reentry services, our targeted area is the south suburbs. And so a minimal amount of people we can take in from Chicago, but our target funding area is the south suburbs. It is underserved, it's underfunded, it's under-resourced. And so part of our mission was to bring some services to that desert of a reentry desert, if you want to call it that.
I see.
And so if you're in the south suburbs, and you need services, get up with us at Phalanx Family Services at that number, and don't forget extension 121, Keith Talley. Get up with me.
Well, thank you so much for that, Keith. Thank you so much for all of our callers who have called in today. I do have another caller on the line. Marion, are you there?
Hey, Josh. Yeah. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Marion. How you doing today?
I am fabulous. I just wanted to allude that the great show that you're having today, that the partnership is also friendly, reentry friendly. And our sectors that we host are also reentry friendly. Like we are also with the hospitality and tourism sector are assisting Dr. Mika when she comes to fruition with her coffee shop.
Absolutely.
To have those reentry people already trained and move forward.
Yes.
So also with the great people and introductions that you have on the show today, and being the partnership show, I just don't want it to be alluded that the partnership itself can also be a resource, and a great resource for people of reentry. That's one of the industries that we are funded and can work with.
Absolutely.
So if those resources are tapped or don't have the industries that you would like to consider, or need just a little bit more resources, they also can call the partnership. That's what we're there for, to assist them with their journey.
Thank you so much, Marion. Hey, Marion, while I have you, can you tell the public and our listeners how they can contact you at Hospitality Hires, and how can they, utilize some of the resources that you and the partnership have?
Well, don't forget, we're also industry sectored, but if they want to contact the partnership themselves, all they have to do is call 312-603-0200. Again, that's 312-603-0200. Speak with our ample receptionist, or leave a message and tell us what your needs are, and we will have someone in that industry or that specific expertise to assess your needs and get you started the better.
Thank you so much for that, Marion. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Dr. Minka. Thank you, Dr. Pullum, for joining the show and providing our listening audience with all of this wonderful, wonderful information. I also like to thank my in-studio guest, Mr. Joshua Williams, Jr., who's come to represent today. Say hi to the people, Josh.
Hi.
Hey, Josh. How old are you?
Hey, Josh.
5.
And when is your birthday?
July 8th.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Josh. Thank you. Well, that's it for the Partnership Show. Please join in with us next Saturday, 8 o'clock, where we're providing the people with news that they can use. Thank you.
Thank you, Joshua.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, go to some sort of
Thank you, Dr. Mika and Joshua.
Facebook.
Great show, guys.
Go
Thank
to
you.
Some Sort of State on Facebook and get your tickets. Some Sort of State on Facebook and get your tickets. Come out and support us.
Father, open eyes.